again, it's mighty good inspiration to go. So.
And the wolf one was good.
I really liked that. When that happened, I was like, oh man, that's so cool. You know, I really did. And with King Midas, like I don't know, like, for auditioning purposes and stuff, but like they never put like, the real character's name on your audition to keep it secret, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm reading, yeah, I know who this is, you know. But even for like I just did one guest star on it, but it was like, you know, seeing where the character was going or what he wanted to do even in that episode, you just see there's like an intricate patchwork that these guys have got crafted, and you know that it's all gonna lay out at somewhere. But like you say, there's happy accidents or things that people discover along the way or they bump into. And that's the really cool thing I think about a show like this is that they're open to that. It's the writers are open to that, obviously. So
they have a huge board in the writers' room that takes up like a wall that has all the plot points and the timelines and everything else.
I just got my phone now.
I've been holding it quietly, sorry.
If you're done, you guys can get it here. You guys can take a look. There you go.
Go ahead, next question.
Hi, I know you can't reveal too much about the next season, but is there anything exciting or significant that happens to Storybrooke now that, like, I know Snow, Regina, and Rumpel have gone to Neverland, like, especially since now the world can kind of come to Storybrooke? Is there anything that happened, like, or something?
Well, we couldn't tell you that would ruin the surprise, first of all. I think we're...
You know, Jane was here yesterday, and she had said, "Oh, I forgot to ask the guys what I can say." And I, you know, it's one of those things where we're oftentimes sort of sworn to secrecy, and honestly, for you, so that when you see it or hear it, or when you get to experience it the first time, it really is a surprise. So I think Eddie and Adam, who are the executive producers of the show and creators of the show, are the guys to follow on Twitter to get sneak peeks or kind of suggestions or ideas. And obviously they were part of Lost, so if you like Lost, they're also the party that kind of really lays in all those Easter eggs, which is really fun.
And I think they can't just never go back to story. I mean, I think they have to go back and deal with the people that got left behind. Who didn't blow up. I was like at home one night when, you know, we were on set when that was ending, and Lana was just talking, and we were standing there, and she was saying, "Oh, I think they're going to blow up Storybrooke." And I was like, "Oh." I got home and I was like, "Oh my God, wait a minute, what? What?" You know? And I said out of a tweet, I was like, "Have I told you how much I love you? Please don't kill me." So they didn't blow it up, so that's good news. And Bella's still there, so that's good news. And I can't imagine that they're not going to go back there and deal with what it is to be left behind. I think it's always been an important through line for this story is, you know, we have to go back. You know, first they wanted to get back to Fairy Tale Land, and you're always trying to save somebody from somewhere, so surely they're not just going to leave us all there. And I don't know, the Blue Fairy seems to have magic and all of that, so she got to do something.
She'll bust a move.
Yeah, she'll bust a move down there.
How many books or movies have you made and written?
How many movies have we been in, or sorry?
How many books or movies have you been written? How many books and movies have you made and written?
Like, how many projects have you been a part of, books, movies?
Oh, I've personally been in well over 100 episodes of TV and film. Well over 100.
I knew you right.
Oh,
As a matter of fact, I've been in that.
No, but I had to answer this yesterday at Stargate. They were saying, like, you know, and I actually Googled it and looked it up. I wasn't exactly sure. So,
I'll tell you my Kevin Bacon number is 2.
How'd you manage that?
Because I worked with Clint Howard.
There you are.
Kevin Bacon number, I can say that I was at their wedding, so how's that?
So that's better.
I went to high school with your secretary, so that's my answer. I have no idea how much I've done, but I'm really grateful
Raphael's always working.
to be working in. And you know, this is an incredible show to be part of. This is really an incredible show to be part of. So this is a cherry on a cake for sure.
And all the Vancouver actors, I know that, like, I blacked out and freaked out when I got King Midas. I was like, oh my God, yes, you know. Like, but everybody I know in Vancouver, and I'm sure you can feel the same. A lot of people love the show, wanting to get on the show. The actors really were wanting to get on the show. Yeah.
I'd like to get on a hit show.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know it was going to be a hit when it first came up. No one knew. But
I knew in the pilot though, when we were shooting the pilot and I went to the wedding scene, I brought my little daughter, she was 3, and she got all dressed up in her little thing to go meet Prince Charming and Snow White, and she could barely even look at them because she was 3. And we were standing there and I was like, oh, okay.
yeah.
But before that I didn't really, you're like, yeah, it's a pilot, because they come and they go, and you just never really know. But once I sort of saw what was coming, you could sort of see it.
I just to that end, having read the pilot, I thought, this is fantastic. It's never going to work. It's just way too ambitious. I mean, it just seemed like on the page, you just thought, oh my God, and smoke and thing and castles. And then we got invited, the core group in Los Angeles, to a screening with William Morris to see it. This is before we knew whether it was actually going to be on the schedule. And the lights came up, and we were all kind of like we'd been hit by a bazooka or something. It was just, oh my God, it was so much better even than we had imagined. And they had sort of surpassed our wildest expectations. And then to be able to do this, and this is what's incredible, I mean, I don't know if you know, they do these shows in 8 days. I mean, there's one extra day that's sort of a mystery day that they sort of slip in, but it's essentially, it's filmed and shot and completely, in the can in 8 days. Now, it takes a significant amount of time after that to finish it and put it together, but to do that every 8 days and do 22 of them is so incredible. The crew is astonishing, and the writers really continue to turn these stories out. But by the end of the season, and I understand that there's been some expressed interest we'd love to have more episodes. The fans would love more than 22. And I think as it is, the writers I think have about a week off between seasons. And the crew oftentimes have just a month or so, and they're wiped out. So it takes a lot to do it, and to do it at that high level in such a short amount of time takes its toll. But again, the production values are incredible.
My question is what was your favorite surprise that the writers have, either for your characters or just in general on the show? Because I mean, the show's always been about great surprises.
I like the wolf, that the cape was what made her not turn into the wolf. I thought that was very clever.
Surprise, jeez, there's so many. I loved the episode with Graham, and I was so shocked, and we knew that Grizzly was first season. So the Sheriff Graham, when he died, I didn't love it, but so I can't say it. But I was shocked and engaged, and he knew from the beginning that was what was going to happen. But I found it at the time sort of shocking and amazed at the writing that they would be willing to do that. And then of course there was a huge outpouring of sort of sadness about what had happened to him. And what it did though is it sort of made the evil queen so much more evil by the fact that she had done that and gotten away with it and killed such a beloved character. So their willingness to keep telling these stories and go anywhere. I also love the Frankenstein episode that we talked about with David Eggers. Just that they then went out from sort of classic fairy tales into great literature and began to do that. That was sort of exciting and interesting. They can kind of go anywhere, can't they? I mean, there's not really too many places they can't go with what they've set up. Star Wars, maybe where they jump the shark. Yes.
And I like the wolf thing as well. That was my favorite. I thought that was just so cool.
Next. Is that you?
It can be me. Okay.
I want to again just say thank you so much to all of you for being here. It means a lot to me, and I know just about everyone else in this room. The Once Upon a Time world is so huge. I know there's so many different characters and plots. A lot of them, you may be working with someone and you actually are never in a scene with them. So I was curious to know if you could put a bug in the writer's ear. Is there a certain storyline or maybe another actor that you would like to work with that you haven't had a chance to be in yet?
I'm going to pick this up basically because we had this fantastic idea yesterday. And we have absolutely no say in this, just so you know. I mean, I am literally pitching this into the dark. But what Jane was sitting between the two of us yesterday, and we were talking about romantic possibilities, and an idea got formed between This lady here to my right. So there's all sorts of fun things. I mean, what I do know is that the writers do read what you guys post, and they do read, I love so and so, or I'd love something to happen, and I think that they're always looking for new ideas. I know that they've been very focused on adding new characters, and a lot of new characters, and that some of the folks from Storybrooke, obviously the core group of which obviously Keegan and I are part of that, are sort of in an alternate reality, waiting to come back. And but what I always encourage people to do who have great ideas is, write it in, tweet it in, or Facebook it in, so they'll get to see it. I know that they read it.
Well, I for one am a blue hooker. I think the other superior would go for a bad boy. Don't you think?
Yeah.
This ain't even working. Sorry.
King Midas felt he'd like to, kiss somebody or touch somebody without turning them gold. So he's been a little lonely.
Hi. I was wondering if you could see any one thing happen to your character, anything at all, what would you like that to be?
Become a series regular.
I have a free trip to Disneyland.
Yeah. I want to go to Disneyland for free.
Come back. There you go.
Did you say else?
You know what? I would like to find out what the deal is with Rogol. I would like to know how the fairies became fairies, and irrespective of me as the fairy, I think it's an interesting thing that a lot of people want to know how fairies came about, how did they get power, how do they have that relationship with dwarves and the whole thing. I would love to see that.
Again, for some of you who were here yesterday, I would love to, I'm repeating some of this, but I would love to sort of see what Archie's life is outside of the office. I'd love to know a little bit more about Pongo. I'd love to know if there's a romantic, person in his life, even if it's a ship.
In Pongo's life?
Yeah, in Pongo's life. I'm very concerned about Pongo's life. And then I'd be interested also, just because of him being kind of sort of the voice of the good guy. I'd be so interested if there was a crisis of conscience for Archie, where he would have to sort of fight through something, whether he went rogue.
Going out with Lacey.
Whether he went rogue or something, and then had to sort of fight his way back. I think that would be interesting. But again, no one from the writer's office is calling me that actively. But thanks for asking us.
If you stab the dark one, then you would become the dark one. So you could have done it to be good, to get rid of the dark one.
And you heard it here.
You heard it first. Look for an alternate universe.
Hi. On the show, a lot of the cast end up being revealed as multiple fairy tale characters, like Rumpelstiltskin was Beast and the Crocodile. Are there any fairy tale characters who have been introduced you wish also end up being you?
This is entirely just, has nothing to do with anything, but I was like, wouldn't it be cool if the blue fairy turned out to be Tinkerbell? And I'm not the only person that has ever floated that, so it's not me. Oh, right. Yeah, I should learn not to tweet so much. I tweeted Adam at the end of last season, I think. I said, I will give you $1 million if you let me play Tinkerbell. And Eddie wrote back very tersely, you are already the blue fairy. It's like, I don't really got $1 million.
I'm going to leave that for her. I'm going to leave it to her. Thank you.
I'll be looking for a new show.
It's nice to see y'all. Thank you for coming. We talked earlier about having the heart of the helping in the heart, and one of the storylines that you that I forgot in my. But I wondered about the relationship with Henry, with the characters, and how he is. I don't know his real name, but how he is to actually work with.
His name is Jared, and he's great. you know, he was on Mad Men before he came on the show. And you never necessarily know. Sometimes young actors, and I was a young actor, I started at 4, so, but having encountered them as an adult, sometimes they can be annoying. I don't know, precocious in an annoying way, to be frank. And he's not. He's just a really dear kid. And he just loves to hang out and, you know, I'll give him piggyback rides. When I'm in Vancouver, I miss my kids a lot, so I get to hang out with him, and he's such a sweetheart. We went to Disneyland together with my kids.
Okay.
You got the joke?
No comment. Take the fifth. And basically, you know, he's a really sensitive, dear kid, which is what you get from him on camera. And there's sort of a protective feeling about him as well for all of us. I mean, Ginny and Josh and Jennifer, all of us, and Lana. You know, we care about him. He's the sort of the young one, and we also look out for him. So he's a really a sweetheart.
And you remember when Henry died, and we were all standing in that room all that day. And every time that he kind of woke up and said, "I love you too." It was like, that's sweet.
Yeah, he's a great kid. It made me cry. I'm a big baby. I'm a softie, and that happened. I was just like, oh, seriously, yeah.
My mom called me. She's like, "Oh my God, he's not really dead." I said, "Mom, just watch the rest of the episode."
Cheers.
Hi. I would like to know, I think Regina is just such a misunderstood character. You know, she's desperate for love and makes such poor choices. Is there any thought on redeeming her? Because I was actually hoping she would join forces with the other characters and fight against Cora. And now that Cora's dead, that's not going to happen. But I really want her to go truly into the good fold.
Oh, see, that would be so boring.
Oh.
Don't you think? Like, I mean, look, if we don't. I told my daughter, because I try to demystify some of the scary things that she might come across. For the most part, I don't let her watch things. But, you know, we talk a lot about every story has to have a villain, because that gives everybody a problem to overcome. And to me, if we didn't have the evil queen, where would the problem be? Do you know what I mean? And for me, this is me as a fan, when I watched, and she was trying to be good and all that, I was like, you know, I don't want to see that. I want to see, like, mean, evil, horrifying, evil queen, because that's, I don't know, it just gives you something to grab onto. It gives you somebody to hate. And I think that was a big part of what made people love this show. You know, we love to have somebody to hate. And so I think if Regina went good, we'd be like, well, all right then. Well, I guess there's Hook. He's kind of good.
I guess she has to change her name too, right?
Yeah, maybe look weird anymore.
You know, I think the writing has been great, that you can take a character who you love to hate, and then also, as you've expressed anyway, you know, feel her struggle. And that's what Lana's done, which has been so remarkable, and I just love the work that she does. Because you really feel, you know, it could be one note, right? Just, you know, evil, 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 evil.
And I don't disagree with you on that. I think there has to be the struggle. It's important, and it's what makes us, you know, it brings us back from the brink of hating them, and it keeps you interested. So I don't want to say that I think you should just be purely evil. I love the struggle, and I think it's an important part of it.
I mean, we'll see where they go with it, and it's you know, we've got lots of television. Excuse me, television is a long form storytelling, right? So every week is like a new chapter of the book, and every season is essentially, you know, brings a whole new place to go, and so it's something that will continue to sort of reveal itself, I guess, in time. But her struggle of sort of between the dark and the light, I think, has been really well played by Lana, and obviously they've maximized it, you know, in the writing. And then for you to ask that question, that really speaks to it. So I think that's great that you feel that.